topic of today's video, if I can get the right frequency. Creepy Soviet number stations. So what is a number station? Number stations were extremely popular in the Cold War, in the Soviet territories and American territories, and in other countries around the world. They were short-wave radio frequencies. Now what this means, it's different than regular radio. Regular radio is normally limited by the visible horizon. It's about 40 miles. Shortwave radio can go past that, can go much further. So it was great for spying. So how it worked, there was a frequency, of course, they would use, and when there's not code being broadcast or numbers from the station, there was some kind of tone occupying that space. Sometimes a little ding-dong, a little doom-doom-doom, a little 8-tone melody, just crackling, just some buzzing, which we'll see later. It could be anything to keep the tone. Sometimes even creepier, sometimes peppy music, sometimes creepy, sad music. Or then normally a scheduled broadcast would commence. And in that scheduled broadcast for a few seconds, numbers. That's why it's called a numbers station. They would give out numbers, sometimes names, and through that, the spies would use that information, okay, they would use that information, and they would decode it, and they'd say, oh, that's my job, I need to be doing this, okay? So if you're in Europe, and you're a Russian spy, you're connecting the radio to that frequency of your Russian number station, you're decoding using your decoder book, and you're learning what is your next task as a spy. It's used for spies to essentially learn from command without direct contact. Because they don't know I'm using this radio. The government can't track what radio frequencies I'm listening to and seeing, so they don't know if you're a spy. It was great. It was used a lot during the Cold War times. Countries around the world tried to crack each other's codes because that would lead to great advancements. In the late 90s, the Americans cracked a Cuban code, and we arrested specifically five Cuban spies. It was called the Cuban Five. Now, the way we did this is we cracked their code they were receiving from a number station in Cuba. The way we cracked their code, we just broke into one of the guy's apartments and they stole the decoder book. It was very, very high-tech stuff. But we cracked the code, and we were able to then remove Cuban spies because we were able to learn what the code was and implicate them. So it was great when you crack it. When you crack it, you remove spies. But the Cold War's over and technology has changed. So you're probably thinking, there's no number stations left, Trent. And you'd be partially right. There really isn't much number stations left. But the few that remain are so creepy and eerie that I wish they kind of didn't. And specifically what we're going to be talking about today is UVB-76, or as it's sometimes called, the buzzer. Or sometimes just simply Old Buzz. Now the buzzer is called the buzzer because its tone, which keeps the frequency, is a buzzing sound. I'll play you a clip in a second. But when the code comes on, it's not scheduled. It's entirely random. So it's confusing. It can't be for spies because they can't be listening to the radio all day. What's it for? The purpose is confusing. The buzzing is eerie as it's never really the same. It's constantly changing. And the code is always different. Some days, we have days go by, not a single bit of code. Some days, like a specific day in October of 2016, there were 16 coded messages in that one day. What is happening that needs that? It makes people think, and it's creepy. The buzzing is like eerie. It's very otherworldly. I'd like to play you a clip now of one of the codes. So let's talk about some theories of why this exists. Some people say it's the Russian military. Now this code, this UVB-76, is from the 1970s and is believed to be broadcast from St. Petersburg, Russia. So it's a Russian signal and it's in Russian code they're delivering. People think it's the Russian military. Some people say it's for simple Russian military movement in Western Russia. It's very simply just that. Some people believe it's something more clandestine, it's an alien, or it's specifically rotting through our brains to try to convince us something. Some people believe it's very specific and its use is very contingent for Russia's nuclear intercontinental ballistic missile defense system. Those are a lot of big words, and that's a big topic in itself. People think this has extreme powers. I personally and some other people think maybe it does nothing. Maybe the Russian government is just still broadcasting this signal to give themselves an air of mysteriousness and creepiness. It's spooky. And you can view these things today. Not this radio, but if you buy a radio that can specifically connect to these frequencies, you can view these things at home. There's web applications that also allow you to do this. Heck, there's even a YouTube live stream of the buzzer. And I'd suggest you go out and look at these things. Listen at them. Listen to how eerie and creepy they are. But I want to warn you now, because it is October and it is a little creepy. If you're laying in bed at night and you're listening to the buzzes, and you think, this is kind of peaceful, you're weird if you think that. But if you do think that and you fall asleep, I just want to let you know, you might be awoken at 3 a.m. by a man shouting a Russian code. And by the time you wake up, you think, what is happening? What planet do I live on? What is going on? And did I just miss the code I was waiting for? It's creepy. It's weird. But it's creepy. It's weird. But I would like to imply for you to check it out. Again, I've been Trent. You've been the audience. This has been a little bit on spooky number stations, specifically UB-76, the buzzer. I'll see you in the live stream. Have a great week.